top of Albert Mountain here. So actually where we came down was from way down there. And up here, we're up in the fire tower now, way out there, way in the distance, kind of off in that direction, is the Smoky Mountain Range. It's actually where we're headed next. It's about 40 miles away, so we'll get there very end of the weekend or really early next week. And it should take us about a week or so to get through there. Down here is actually one of like the longest running water conservation projects out here, where they're studying a lot of clear cutting and tree species and seeing how they affect watersheds and such in this valley. Run up here, got a view of it. Sherlock getting some pictures.
Freeze!
Heyo! Alright. It's definitely a good view though. Very much worth the climb, all 5,249 feet of it.
Is this our first 5,000?
I think so.
Well, it's not our first.
No, not our first 5,000, but
Indian,
yeah,
but
standing
the
Indian was higher.
The first one that we can see from.
Yeah, this one thankfully is not shrouded in fog like everything was this morning. We got really lucky, everything burned off and gave us a really nice view.
Time, all around the blooming heather, will ye go, lassie, go? Oh, the summer.
Good morning, everyone. We're at the top of Wesser Bald here. I'm about to take you up the fire tower that they've got up here, so just spare me a minute here while I try to climb this while talking to you at the same time. This is one of the few fire towers that's actually open at the very top. Generally they're locked down so people don't go all the way to the top. You can kind of just climb 3/4 of the way into the stairs for your view, but this one thankfully is all the way open. There were actually some wildfires here, I think last year in this area, because there's a lot of trees that are burnt up around this area, so apparently these fire towers are getting a lot of use. But all right, now that we're up here, I'll show you kind of what we're looking at. Off this way is Franklin, where I spent the night 2 nights ago at Gooder Mountain Shelter, or hostel rather. And that's up there where I spent the morning. I slept up there last night. It got about 30 degrees, so had to sleep with water filters and stuff again so nothing would get damaged. And then off that way, kind of off into the distance out there, actually, is where the Smokies are. Kind of got to get over that first mountain range there to get to them. Still got about 30-ish miles to go until we get to those, but it's definitely a great view up here. Sorry if I make you a little dizzy for doing this, but I'll just do a big 360 so you can see everything. That's where we're headed next, up to the highest point of the AT, which is Clingman's Dome, where you can actually see kind of peeking off up there in the distance. It's like 6,500 feet, so that ought to be a fun one. Alright, I'm just stopping for a little break for water, but I'll kind of show you how we make this work. A lot of these water sources are little mountain springs. They're actually really nice sources of water. They're really clear. They're usually running pretty well, but sometimes you have to do a little bit of acrobatics to get to where you really want to fill. Like up there, if you can see, somebody's put a little piece of PVC pipe in there to help people fill water. But usually the water source looks something like this. You try to find something that's got a little bit of movement to it, because that has a less chance of having bacteria in it. But they usually just come right out of the rock like this. You can never really see the source, but some of these are actually so fresh you don't have to filter, and I've drank out of a couple of those that way, but it's not really advised. Generally you should always filter it, because you can't always tell where Giardia and norovirus and stuff is going to be at, and the one time you don't filter it is the one time you're really going to regret it. So, but usually, like I said, I just fill up. I have like a 4-liter dirty water bladder that I fill up with something like this, and then I bring it over where I'm actually filling up, which I have set up right now. I have a gravity system, so I just hang the water there, and it rolls through the filter, which is right here. And then it goes down into my smart water bottles down here, but it's got a vacuum going right now. Hissing, so give me 1 second. And then it just fills from there. Usually doesn't take too long. I can fill, these are each liters and I have 2 of them, so it usually takes me like 5 minutes total to get my water. And I try to camel up while I'm sitting here too, which is just when you're, you sit around and you drink a ton of water, and then you refill your water bottles and kind of go from there. So much like a camel would do, since you don't have a lot of options for water on the trail. It's usually every 3 miles or so you'll see a stream. But that's what we're drinking here. It's all been really clear. It's all actually tasted really well. I was kind of surprised it tastes a lot better than most of the city water I've had. So I've even had cases where I've dumped out tap water that I've filled up with out here and got the Mountain Spring stuff instead because it tastes that much better. Yay, Fontana Dam. And there's where we came from. And there's where we're going, up into the Smokies. And then we're going way back there where they get so much taller. Alright, we're starting our day off with a lovely stroll across Fontana Dam here. We're going up there, actually, if you can see way at the very top of that one is a little fire tower that we're going to still today. We have about 15 miles planned for the next 2 days each, so we can do a sunrise summit of Clingman's Dome early Thursday morning, because it's supposed to actually be some decent weather that day. It's supposed to be pretty cold and snowy and such for the next 2 days, so we're trying to kind of hammer out this beginning part of the Smokies here so we can get at least a good view on top of Clingman's when it's actually nice. But to do that, we had to fill our packs with as much food as possible to get us through the Smokies, because we're not going to resupply in the middle like we originally planned. We're actually going to go to Paul's house, who is back there behind me. He's from Asheville, at the other end of the Smokies. So instead of going to Gatlinburg like we planned, we just got a couple extra days worth of food, and we're going to go all the way to Asheville in one push here. So it should hopefully be by the weekend that we make it to his place. Alright, it's like 10:30, so we made it up to the top of this mountain. I'm just climbing the fire tower now. This one's actually open at the top, so we're all pretty excited. The view is already pretty fantastic, and still got like 4 more flights to go, so just give me 1 minute to hop up here. The wind definitely feels good. We've already gone up 2,500 feet or so, 3,000 or so, kind of around there in the last 5 miles and 2 hours. So the pace is pretty good. So we're all a little warm.
Don't look down.
Yeah, I'm not scared of heights. No worries. Whew. All right. So let me peek you through some of these windows. Give you a view. That's straight down. There's Sherlock coming. But here's what we got. Definitely the best view we've had on trail thus far. And out there's where we're going, towards Clingman's Dome, which we should hit about Thursday. And there's Fontana Lake and Fontana Dam. And I'll save you guys the vertigo and the dizziness. Morning, everybody. It's like 7 a.m. right now. We've been hiking for about an hour and a half or so already this morning. Trying to get to Clingman's Dome here for the sunrise, which is in about a quarter mile or so, right up here. As you can see, it's rapidly approaching. We've got about 15 minutes to get up there for it, and we should definitely make it. But Night hiking is definitely interesting, for one, because you can't really tell if you're on the right trail up here or not, because you can't see any of the white blazes, because everything's that same color in the middle of the night. But at least I know we're in the right place. Now we've got pavement, I believe, for the rest of the way up to the top here, since this is a pretty popular day hike. All right, I'll let you go quick and I'll bring you back when we get up there. All right, we're just walking around. They have this kind of neat cement turnabout structure that brings you all the way up to the top so you can get above the tree line, which is only in about 10 more feet. And then we'll get a nice view of the sunrise and a good view of the valley out here. And hopefully you don't get too sick for me walking like this, but I'll let you view the outside the whole way. And sorry that it's a little windy. The wind is at like 25 miles an hour and it's only like 20 degrees, so it's a little cold. That should be Fontana Dam out there. I'm not actually sure what city this is. There's Sherlock. It looks like Achilles is coming up now. Alright. Here's the big finale to our very brisk morning. Whew. Definitely worth the 4:30 a.m. wake-up call. Hey everyone, I'm on, let's see, day 4 of the Smokies. We're actually gonna get out of here tomorrow. We're pushing for our longest day yet today, which is 20 3/4 of a mile. So that's gonna be our best so far. I think our current is about 17 miles, so we're gonna push past a little bit. Our first night here was a pretty grueling climb, and it was a pretty bad thunderstorm, but if you look now, it's starting to snow, which is all sorts of fun. Actually, it's only gotten cold for like the last hour or so, but me and my Minnesota self are still in a t-shirt, because that's just kind of how we roll out here, and hiking actually does keep you pretty warm. I'm actually well ahead of schedule for today. I've only got about 7 miles to go, and it's about noon, which means I've already done 13 this morning. The trail has been amazing in the Smokies, so if anybody's kind of curious about doing a piece of the AT, I highly recommend the Smokies. It's very well maintained, it's very beautiful. We've been in this coniferous forest, the pine trees and such, since about a mile or two prior to Klingman's Dome. Otherwise, it's been kind of the typical dead deciduous forest because they're still kind of waking up from winter. But yeah, if you're interested in doing a piece, I highly recommend the Smokies. The climb in from Fontana is kind of a nightmare. It's about 3,500 feet up from down at the bottom at the dam. But once you're up here, it's actually pretty nice. You stay above a mile high pretty much the entire way. I think I'm like at 5,900 feet right now, which is why this lovely snow is kind of coming down like this still. All right, looks like my shelter's up ahead, so I'm gonna stop for lunch here, and I'll see you guys later. Morning, everyone. I think we're on like day 20 or 21 now. Kind of lose track because I don't really know what day it even is. I think it's Saturday. It's super duper wet and rainy today. This is the trail. As you can see, it is flowing faster than most of the streams we get our water from right now. We thankfully only have about 10 miles to go this morning, but we do need to get to the interstate by noon to get our ride from Paul's neighbor. And this water is definitely making things a lot slower. It's very slippery, kind of dangerous, and even the water diverts like this that are supposed to take water away from the trail, they only work for about 10 feet, and then the water starts up again and just gets deeper and deeper as you go. Like I said, it's kind of dangerous, kind of slippery. So it's pretty slow going. I think it's like 8:30 now, and I've gone about 3 miles or so. So I should still make it on time, but it's definitely getting pretty dicey. And it's all downhill the rest of the way, which is even worse. That just means more water, and downhill kind of hurts the most anyway. It's really high impact on your knees and your feet. So we'll see how this goes. So one sad side effect of all this rain is every tiny little stream becomes a giant river. But one of the nice parts about it is it makes all the nice ones into these really cool waterfalls. So then you get a little of this. And actually right over there is the road where I'm going to. And that's where our pickup for Asheville is here in about an hour or so. So I got a little bit of time to just sit here and hang out in the rain. But I will pick up with you here once we get into town and get some food. Oh yeah, biscuit head breakfast.
Yeah.
Hiker trash.
So good.
Getting all fat. Oh yeah. This is the first time I've ever had a straw made of paper. It's called the Aardvark. It's eco-friendly because we're in Asheville and they're all hippies. That's your
Worst that could happen.
Oh yeah, Rocky's Hot Chicken Shack. You look so excited.
Ready for some
Huh?
chicken,
Huh?
man. Chicken, real chicken.
Chicken. Where this is like Whose Line Is It Anyway, where the food doesn't matter and the calories don't even count.
Yeah. What's it real?
Rocky's Hot Chicken Shack, where the chicken's so good that they have to give you bread to soak up the grease. Oh yeah. How's that hot going over there?
Just like homie.